Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this, and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hey mama, this is another episode of the Entering Motherhood podcast. This specifically is a doula talk episode, which if you don't know, we go live on Instagram. And by we, I mean me and Caitlin, who is the co-creator of our signature Own Your Birth childbirth education course. Please go look at that if you are looking for a childbirth education course. It's self-led, online, comprehensive course, and it is just packed with all the information that you will need to be able to feel informed and empowered as you navigate this stage of pregnancy and leading into birth and even the postpartum period. So we are so excited about that course, and we have been chatting and having these doula talks to provide you with more information to really own your birth and have information that maybe you didn't know or refresh your memory on things like that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you ever have any topics that you feel like you would want to add or hear, if you have any questions, then please reach out to us and let us know so that we can include it in these episodes and in these conversations that we are having for you to really feel informed and empowered. So let's get this episode started. Hello. Welcome to another doula talk. It is cold and rainy here today, so we are going to get started shortly. Caitlin is joining us today, and we are talking about preparing for postpartum and what that can look like, and some things to kind of maybe have on hand or think about for when your baby arrives. So let me add Caitlin here. All right, there she is.
Hi.
Hello. I was saying it's cold and rainy here.
Yeah.
So,
It is. I think it's supposed to be like this all week.
yeah.
But it's fine. We need the rain.
Yeah. I said this is perfect weather for preparing for my final days, weeks, whatever it might look like. So we'll see. But like I was saying, we are talking about preparing for postpartum and what that looks like, and some things that you can be thinking about and doing, and what we have done and what we recommend our clients. So while I'm waiting for you to come back and unfreeze, but I'll kind of get started with what I've been doing to prepare and really get ready for postpartum. So we've talked a lot about pregnancy and birth, and then what comes next is the postpartum period. And so really kind of setting some things in place and making sure that you have things situated can be super helpful, especially in those first few days, weeks postpartum, because you are focusing on connecting with your baby, healing, recovering, learning all these new things. And it's good to kind of have a plan set in place, or at least have some things kind of situated so that you can be taking all of that pressure and stress of having to do those things then out, and you can just be focusing on the things that matter most. And so a lot of people typically will do some meal prepping. I think this is a really great thing to do if you are looking to either have like very specific things that you are eating and enjoying in those first few weeks postpartum, to kind of do freezer meals, or even just what I like to do is plan out what we're going to be eating. So for the first few days, we'll already kind of have things established because we are constantly just, making sure that we're grocery shopping and staying on top of things, and the fridge is packed and full, and we have things that can be great for postpartum even now. And then you can have a grocery list kind of set in place, or a meal plan of sorts, so that whoever is kind of taking over that, or if you have a meal train or something along those lines, you can kind of be directing people to what types of things you want to be eating or consuming, or if you have a preference, if you have any allergies, like letting that known. So if people want to bring things, they are aware of that. So really kind of like setting in place like what food am I going to be eating? What does that look like? Things like that. And like having good snacks on hand, having, one-handed snacks on hand, having, warm things, having very nutrition dense foods. So yeah, so having some sort of meal plan in place or a meal train or doing some prep work, things like that. Did you jump back on?
I'm trying. Oh,
I hear you again, but it's just fuzzy.
there we go.
But I was just saying, like, as far as like preparing for postpartum, talking about meals, talking about freezer meals, prepping meals, having some sort of like meal plan in place, meal trains, things like that can be really beneficial and super helpful. So if there's anything that you wanted to add on that, we can chat about that for a little bit more, and then we can move on to other aspects of postpartum and ways to prep and prepare. It still says that you're on there, but it's just not loading. So that kind of stinks. Well, if you want to add anything in the chat, I can read that and talk about that. This will be our last doula talk of the year. So I am getting very, very close to my due date. And so we have made the decision to kind of stop at this point so that we're not having any situations where I am unavailable. So I am happy to have made it this far. And I have, been saying that this baby will probably come early, but we'll see what that means. I've never gone past 40 weeks with either of my kids, but we will see where the next few weeks takes us and what that looks like. So as we're approaching November and getting closer to my due date, we are kind of calling it at this point, and we will be back in January for more doula talks. And I will have a little newborn at that point. Okay, so Caitlin says that she is planning on doing a meal prep party. So that is awesome. That is something that you can do too if you don't want to, do a shower, or if you are having a shower, you can also do this as well. You can have a bunch of people come over, cut up some veggies, put them in freezer bags, make some soups, put them in freezer bags or containers or however you want to prep your food. Really get things situated. Like I said, like just having things on hand. Freezer meals are obviously the best way because then you can just have them whenever baby comes. You don't have to keep fresh food in your fridge and keep replenishing that and whatnot. But whatever kind of works for you. And then, yeah, of course, like having a party, making it a day and getting everybody involved to prep for you and have those meals is really, really awesome. So other ways that you can prep and really get ready for postpartum. Obviously, like I said, you're going to be healing. You are going to, be going through a lot of different things, having pads ready to go, having a peri bottle, which is super beneficial. Sometimes people use herbs like in their peri bottle with the warm water to help just heal faster, recover, have, healing properties with the herbs, or, people make witch hazel pads or just other pads that are containing different herbs and stuff in them. You can use ice packs, heat packs. I'm a really big fan of the packs for if you're breastfeeding, if you have clogged ducts, they heat and cool. So we have those ready to go, nipple cream, like all of these different things that you can be using for postpartum. So Caitlin said recipes together, and that way that they don't have to make them all themselves, but they can still get a bunch of meals ready. So that's always, a really great option, like maybe just, yeah, compiling recipes, having meals prepped and just having people bring them over to you can always be helpful. in that sense. But yeah, going back to supplies and things to have on hand, there's always different things to make sure that you can have packed and ready and on hand, making sure that you have like packed and prepped and ready on hand to utilize. And some things maybe you won't use and some things you'll definitely find useful. Yeah, just having like things in place. Some people will have a lot of different things in their bathroom that is just easily accessible. Like I said, there's different sprays and creams and stuff that you can utilize that are going to help with healing. Your hormones are going to be fluctuating and situating differently. I love having teas too. There's a lot of different postpartum teas, just replenishing all your nutrients, things like that. You can continue to, if you're doing the red raspberry leaf tea, that's still really great to have as one of your go-to teas in postpartum. So Caitlin said, I also love the idea of having little like buckets around the house with different supplies, like one in the bathroom with peri bottles and pads and mom essentials, and then like nursing stations around. So yes, we have already started putting, I love the like boppy pillows. So there is a boppy in the living room, there's one in the nursery, there's one in the bedroom. Like we have little nursing stations and things like that, making sure that there is, somebody like whether it's your partner or if you're having a postpartum doula, replenishing your water, having a nice water bottle that you can easily just be using with one hand and having available for you. Electrolytes are going to be really great and useful. Two favorite emotional support water bottles. So yeah, like I was just saying, like I love water bottles. Anything with a straw, I think is like super helpful. Anything that won't spill, you might be like cramming it in a couch cushion or on your bed or wherever, like just having it easily accessible. So having one that necessarily doesn't spill easily is going to be super beneficial. Caitlin also said couch, bed, etc. Like, yeah, like nipple butter, a water bottle, breast pads, diapers, wipes. Yeah, having all those things like I said, like we have multiple stations like already set up around our house. So making sure that those things are already placed and accessible and you're organizing them now so that when who's ever, coming into your house, they can utilize those things as well. And you're not always going to the same location necessarily to change baby or get different supplies, having burp cloths easily accessible and around, different things like that is going to be super beneficial. Just having all of those stations in place, mostly you're probably going to be in your bedroom and in one specific bathroom for the first like week or so. So having all your supplies in there, but if you're still experiencing bleeding and things later on and you're more mobile and you're kind of like navigating and you have multiple bathrooms in your house, maybe also have like a little station in those bathrooms so that you can grab those supplies and have those supplies. Also having lists for people that want to help, like friends, postpartum doula, husband, etc., that you don't have to explain everything. So yeah, sometimes, as a postpartum doula, there will be for me when I'm going into a house a list of different things for me to work on or look at or focus on when I come over. So it's a really great idea to kind of have things listed out, like maybe even I've seen, people explain like how the laundry is run or what their favorite go-to drinks are and things like that. And so you can have signs posted different places and list it kind of saying like, hey, this is the laundry detergent that we use for this, or this is the cycle that we put it on. This is how we run our dishwasher. You can find our dish soap under here. Like making like lists and kind of how-tos on how you would like things done can be super helpful if you have a certain way of how you do things and if you want it done that way. Or you can simply just say like, hey, do a load of laundry. We have clothes on the table that need to be folded. And I'd also like a meal prepped or whatever that might be. Just having like a list of different things that people can be focusing on so that when they come over, they know immediately like, okay, I can help with this, or like, let me look at this list of things and see where I can fill in and see how I can be helpful. is so that it's not just them, sitting down, staring at you or wanting to hold the baby or whatever it might be. Or maybe you do want them to hold the baby so that you can go shower, whatever it might be. Really kind of like laying out those things and listing those things can be super helpful and super beneficial postpartum. And if you're kind of doing all of these things now in preparation, then you don't have to be worrying about it or thinking about it when the time actually comes. Also, really laying out guidelines or rules or, expectations for what postpartum looks like for you. We have always been very big on no visitors for a, short duration of time or a couple of weeks. We like to kind of be in our bubble. We like to have our own space. We like to really kind of figure out and acclimate, from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, now 2 to 3. We're really going to spend those first few weeks just trying to figure out like what that looks like for us before we're welcoming other people into our bubble and into our space and seeing, how things are postpartum, just the 5 of us before we really, throw other people in the mix and things like that. So, maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want, a postpartum doula immediately. You want your family to come immediately. Whatever that looks like, really kind of laying out the expectations and putting a plan in place can be super beneficial. So there are obviously a lot of different things that sometimes people don't think about, consider, and it's not meant to be overwhelming. It's not, having more things on your to-do list and maybe you're kind of really approaching your due date like I am and you're like, I haven't thought of any of this stuff and what am I going to do? And that's perfectly okay too. Just really start getting the ball rolling, thinking about these things, knowing what your different options are and knowing that, it's just going to take time and it's just going to be an experience of learning how things go and what things look like for you and your family moving forward. So there's obviously so much stuff that can go on and just laying out a few things so that you're ready and you feel as prepared as possible for postpartum. Looking into, a breastfeeding class if that's something that you're really passionate about and that you want to breastfeed, it's really good to connect with a lactation consultant beforehand so that you're not scrambling and searching for one in the postpartum period. You already know. Also connecting with, a chiropractor, a therapist, different people to put on your list in case you need these resources. So having that list in place, having those people lined up and ready to go if you need it. Obviously, if you are, having a pediatrician and you want your baby to be seen soon, having that situated and allocated. Yeah, just like really kind of thinking into that time period of, okay, baby's here, what things might we need as far as different resources and people to connect with and having those things in place. Yeah, just having, a good support system, having friends that you can connect with or family that you can lean on if it's 2 in the morning or, whatnot. My one sister, she works nights. And so if I'm up in the middle of the night, I know that I can most likely text her and she's going to respond because she's up and she's working. So kind of like laying that in place. Maybe you have a friend who's due around the same time or just had a baby and like, hey, they might be up or they might be going through different things, similar situations. And so you can bounce ideas off of each other. And really just tapping into a bunch of different things, maybe finding a good TV show to watch or a book to read or something to do in the postpartum period when you are holding baby, nursing baby, feeding baby, getting up with baby, whatever it might be, some things to like occupy yourself with or entertain yourself with can be super beneficial. So if you have any input or other, suggestions, feel free to always just drop them in the comments. This, as always, will be added to the Entering Motherhood podcast for you to listen to again. And you can listen to all of our other doula talks and all of the other episodes on the Entering Motherhood podcast for you. Caitlin said, I highly recommend interviewing multiple pediatricians so that you can find one that truly connects with you. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that goes for, all different types of services and stuff, like different chiropractors and different postpartum doulas and whatever it might be that you're kind of like collecting, even different therapists, like finding people that you connect with, that you align with, who you're looking for as far as this time goes, and what your different values are, and what you want out of those different services, and making sure that you really connect with them. Like I said, this is our last doula talk of the year. We will be starting again back up in January, but we will, always be available for, direct messages if you want to DM us. Caitlin will be a little bit more available than I will in the next coming weeks. But let us know, what you want to hear, where you're at on your journey, what might be helpful. And we are just so excited to be doing these doula talks and keeping up with them. And we will be ready for the new year. And we'll keep going until we see what Caitlin's journey looks like and when she is due with her little baby. So thank you all for being here and keeping up with our doula talks. We absolutely love doing this and sharing just, different doula tips for you and our different experiences. This will be, for both of us, our third kid. So we'll have 6 kids combined, which is crazy to think. So Caitlin says that she's definitely available and looks forward to seeing y'all in the new year. Yeah, so reach out to her, reach out to me. We are available. I'll continue to be sharing things up until this baby comes out, and then sharing some newborn tips and tricks and stuff like that too once this baby is here. And of course, like sharing my birth story and what that was like. And I'm just really, really excited to be sharing this journey. See you later. Bye.
Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.